Welcome to episode 107 of the Nerd Rundown podcast. The three amigos are back in action with Darren, Morgan, and I together again. Coming up this week on the show, we talk about some Superman Legacy casting news. We have our Clark and Lois. Lord of the Rings is back in the news and looks like Peter Jackson might be returning to lead the franchise. Hollywood seems to be abandoning San Diego Comic-Con. We talk about why. And finally, Mr. Hodgkinson dials up a banger of a NRDbox question that has all three of us debating action stars. Ready? Hit it!
Welcome back to the Nerd Rundown podcast, where we cover the latest in the nerd world of movies, TV, and more. I'm Darren Stemple.
And I am Erik Hare.
I'm Morgan Santo.
Thank you for tuning in here on YouTube. If this is your first time with us, please hit the like button, the subscribe button, hit the bell, so you don't miss any of our shows as they get released randomly throughout the week. You can also find us wherever you consume your podcasts, and you can also find us on our social media like Twitter, TikTok, Instagram, all at the Nerd Rundown. We love to shout out comments here on the Nerd Rundown. And as YouTube commenter Ray Hernandez recently mentioned, this is a cool show, recognizes veterans. And speaking of veterans, let's hear a word about our sponsor, Combat the Chaos. It's no secret here at the Nerd Rundown that we support our veterans and our first responders. We ask that you do the same thing through our sponsor, Combat the Chaos. They're a veteran-owned clothing company that donates part of their proceeds to other amazing organizations supporting these warriors and guardians. If you're a veteran, you're at a 57% higher risk of suicide than those who have not served. As a veteran myself, this cause hits very close to home. This shirt and hat are some of the items available if you follow our link in the description down below to combatthechaos.com. Use the discount code NRD for 15% off and help us fight this battle that veterans and first responders so desperately need. Now, back to the rundown.
So you're saying you could travel back in time?
But Bruce, I can fix things. I can save people. I can save my mom. I can save your parents.
All right, guys. One of my favorite clips to throw into the show lately has been Steve Buscemi's character from Con Air, where he asks,
"Define irony."
And then the clip goes on to say, criminals dancing to a band that died in a plane crash. So let me ask you to define irony. I went to the Flash this past week. Really enjoyed it. Really enjoyed it. My phone started blowing up about halfway. Started getting texts or notifications
During the movie.
And I'm not a
I think I know where this is going.
I'm not a texter in a movie. But when your phone starts and you start hearing other phones start going off, there's usually a reason for that. And it's severe, like in all caps, severe thunderstorm warning coming for you. I had a very tight window that the movie would end and I'd have to go pick up Penny at camp. And so then I start getting
at camp, so an outdoor activity.
Yeah. So then I get to the part. So they are fighting Zod. They're getting, I don't know how far into where I want to go for spoiler reasons.
Yeah.
But let's just say that the two Flashes are having a very serious conversation, and one is going one way and the other one is going the other way, if that makes sense.
Flashes?
Yeah, you should know that. That's not a spoiler. Nice try. I'm like, okay. Then I start doing the calculations in my head. I'm like, if movie's supposed to end like at 2:20, I think it was, or something like that, and I was supposed to go pick Penny up at 2:30, or maybe increase that by an hour. Either way, severe weather. And then my wife, Banana, as we call her around here, starts texting me about her being stuck on the highway in the worst hailstorm she's ever seen. And just severe torrential downpour, raining hail. And I'm like, okay, I gotta go. Like, I can't finish this movie.
Yeah.
I don't know how The Flash ends.
You didn't finish it?
I didn't finish. I had to go. I was like, Bananas texted me, you need to get your car under cover, to also me thinking like, I still have to go pick up not only Penny, but her little friend as well. I don't know why I call her a little friend, but it was like incredible. I have never seen hail like that in my lifetime. And in fact, there was a tornado just south of us in Highlands Ranch.
Going green. Greenwich.
Which is like 15 minutes away. But I got stuck in the hailstorm going to pick up Penny. I got under a tree. Like I drove up on a sidewalk, half in the grass. That didn't even slow it down. My truck is very damaged because of severe weather. I couldn't finish the Flash. So I don't know how the Flash finished. I don't know why it's bombing at the box office, because I enjoyed it, what I saw,
I did too. Yeah.
There's stories out there about bad special effects, and yeah, there's probably a scene or two that I was like, I don't know.
Can I ask you guys a question about this? If you had to take the Flash and say, you know what, I'd compare it to this in the Marvel universe. What are we like? Not, and I don't even mean like factor out the multiverse stuff. Let's just go a pure script.
Well, we can't
action.
We can't do Multiverse of Madness, because that's like the greatest Marvel movie ever made, as we saw last year when it got People's Choice Award as the -- film of all.
Not just hero movie film.
Yeah.
The best film.
I
hear it's even better than The Whale.
I don't consider that, to be on par with I definitely enjoyed it more than Doctor Strange.
That's why I know it's hard to compare to a non-multiverse movie, but just pure I would
put it in between. Like if you wanted to, if I had to, well, let's just keep it in the same ballpark. So we'll say Doctor Strange. I really loved the first Doctor Strange movie. I thought it was great. Really loved that one.
Yep.
Yeah.
The Multiverse of Madness, not so much. There were good components to it. I would put it in between those two films, if that helps you in any way. Like, I liked it way better than I liked Multiverse of Madness. Did not like it as much as I enjoyed the first Doctor Strange. So
no, that helps. To me, that sounds like they do.
Interesting.
Yeah, no, I think that helps.
I would put it above the first Doctor Strange, but I don't know how it ends.
All right, could the ending change that? Is there any
I don't think so. I think the ending is satisfying to it, and they do an interesting thing with the characters to give them potentially additional life if possible, if they wanted to do something along those lines. So I thought it was interesting. So
even Henry Cavill.
I will say, don't think so for Henry. He's not going to make it.
Is that so? Yes, that's so.
I don't think so.
One of those. I'll tell you
Henry, I would still employ you.
The opening sequence to the movie
is amazing.
Is really amazing, and it really kind of pissed me off at the same time. So the opening sequence is glorious, and I loved it. I know that there are some folks out there who are complaining about the CGI or whatever, but I thought it was pure comic book awesomeness, just pure comic book awesomeness. I don't know if that's an actual phrase.
The microwave was maybe a little bit much for me, if I want to go on record.
Sure.
So
it wasn't plugged in,
but only like minor.
Yeah. It was just silly. It was kind of silly. I tell you what, the part that really, I guess, gave me negative feelings about it or anger about it is Ben Affleck is terrific. It's Sans Batman voice, which is the only thing that I didn't like about him.
Spoiler alert on that, by the way.
It's awesome. That part is amazing.
It sounds so good.
Wait. What do you mean? His voice, Ben Affleck?
He doesn't do the electronic
He doesn't do
voice.
the digital voice.
Oh, he doesn't have the robot voice.
He doesn't do the digital voice. It's just regular.
And it makes me pissed that we didn't get that for a full movie.
Well, that's
I liked
what
the
makes
electronic voice though.
Me too, because it made sense to me.
Sure.
So for me, it was I watched this opening sequence and it just made me angry that we never got a full Ben Affleck Batman movie. Just him.
I know.
Just him, like if you want to pull in Wonder Woman, maybe just a little bit, the kind of I don't know. It just made me really angry that we never got a proper Ben Affleck Batman movie, and I think we got robbed. I really do, because we
Yeah.
got a freaking Aquaman movie. Now we're getting two of them.
Yeah.
So, but we couldn't figure out a way. We had to bring in, like, they were so impatient. They had to bring in Superman. They had to bring in Wonder
I
Woman.
know.
They had to bring in all that stuff, and it's just like, come on, man! Like, you could have
Old feelings there.
given them something.
Do you feel this movie could have been a 10 out of 10 or much better if we actually, lack of a better term, cared more? So like we had a more fleshed out DC universe in the movies where it's like, okay, now we care, like things are changing, things are happening. Or is it more like when you're, I don't know. I don't want to ruin anything because I do know a lot about it.
Well, I'll just say, I don't know, man. Like, I'll just say that 10 out of 10 is really hard. Like, there's very few movies that hit 10 out of 10 on anything.
Yeah.
So I mean, I would put this movie at like
the answer to that question.
Yeah, I would put this movie at like a 7. Like, I put this movie at a 7. Wow. The Justice League movie didn't make me really care any more or less about Barry. I was interested in seeing what they were going to do with the Flash, because it's his own movie, and they build it with this multiverse stuff,
but they also do something really clever by telling his origin story without telling his origin story.
Correct. Yeah.
Like,
it was, and that was great.
I like that.
Because in the beginning, you're like, oh, we never did get to see how Flash got his powers,
Right. Yeah. And I was really impressed with, I know Ezra Miller has had his challenges and stuff, but I got to tell you, watching him, thanks. Watching him play two different characters, two different versions of the same person in these scenes was spectacular. Like, he was really, really good. I
CGI.
mean, like, really good. Like, he just,
he picks him up and phases through the wall with him.
Yeah. And so you just have like this feeling. The differences in the Barrys in this movie are really great, because he takes, he's clearly an older, more mature Barry in this other version of himself, and he's going back in time to a younger, more immature, but also a version of himself who never suffered the pain that his other.
Right.
So it's just different, and so it was really cool to see. And like I said, I think we talked about it earlier. Some of the reviews and stuff, they were giving him a hard time about it, and I thought that the character did learn from as the movie went on.
Darren hasn't seen the end. He hasn't seen the end.
Careful.
Yeah, well, I'm trying to hold. Yeah, I'm trying to hold back.
So are you?
As I can.
So are you not going to look anything up about the end? And will you go to the theater again? Or are you
that's my dilemma right now. I'm trying to decide: do I spend the money to go see it again, or do I just wait? And
you got to Google like how much of the movie is left after this part.
Like 20 minutes at least.
Yeah.
Wow.
Pretty significant
material.
Yeah. The way they did it, and again, I know that there's a lot of spoilers out there for stuff when it comes to, and I'm going to try and be as spoiler free as I possibly can. Yeah. But there's a significant portion of it that is somewhat cameo based, but not really. Like, it's just alternative. I'll just say that. It's like alternative stuff. Yeah. Alternative-ish. So, yeah.
Like, the cameo stuff's been ruined for me by the internet, because the internet's just a bunch of jerks. So, but how it sets up DCU or the DCEU, or how it ends the DCU, I don't know that. And that's kind of the stuff that I really care about. I don't really care about seeing an actor who never played a role cameo as that, it's a weird thing.
We still have one more film in that series. We still have the Aquaman follow.
Oh, yeah.
And
gosh,
so
if that may never see.
I hope so.
I know. It's now. Like,
the way they do it, I thought was pretty clever. The way they handle Aquaman, I think is very clever. I'll just say that they handle it in a very clever way.
In Flash.
In the
Flash.
Do you agree, Darren?
I haven't seen him in the movie yet.
Oops. What's that mean? What do you mean?
No, I got it. Some jerk didn't put.
I know what I got it, though. I mean, when I say oops, what do you mean saying oops there?
Well, you say we try that one again, huh?
Yes, without the oops.
Spoiler.
And it's not just him.
Yeah.
Don't
say anymore.
So it's a good time travel movie.
But it leads to nothing.
We're gonna move on, because another talking point I really wanted to talk about from this past weekend is Disney continuing to have a bit of a strikeout fest. Elemental debuted alongside The Flash, which maybe didn't help, but also The Flash didn't help. We saw Across the Spider-Verse and Transformers leapfrog those movies in their second weekend, I think it is. Second or third?
It's a third weekend for Transformers and fourth weekend for Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
So
wow. That's like really unprecedented for a movie to kind of leapfrog from the fourth place in their, or at least, in their fourth weekend to first place.
They knew this was going to stink. They knew Elementals was going to stink because
I think so.
That's why they dropped the news like a week or two ago or a month ago saying, hey, we're going back to Toy Story. We're going back to The Incredibles. We're going like everything that you love. We are going back to the well because everything new that we've tried is not working, which is not necessarily true. Encanto was terrific.
We don't talk about Bruno.
Encanto, but I don't think Encanto was Pixar. I think that was Disney's
Animation Studios.
Disney Animation Studios.
That's Disney, yeah.
But
it's on Disney Plus. I've seen it 300 times.
Yeah.
Haven't we all? Anyway, Disney's, you got Indy coming up. That sounds like that's going to be a flop already. I have eaten my crow on that one, Morgan, when you weren't here. And you know what I was thinking about this? The last time us three were on, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time since.
It's been a long time.
Yeah.
It's good to be back.
It's good to be back.
It's good to be back.
Anyway, so Indy's coming up. That's flopping. Disney Plus, everything out on Disney Plus is not doing well. Secret Invasion, I watched the first episode. I thought it was good.
I thought it was good too.
I thought it was good.
Oh, there's your ringing endorsement.
Yeah.
Captain, I talked to Captain Dunsel, big commenter.
Yeah.
He said he hates it.
Oh.
He's like, I was watching it. Now I'll tell you what. Can I tell you why he hates it?
Yes.
He goes,
Please.
I watched it, and I didn't know who anyone but Nick Fury was.
Hmm.
He didn't watch Captain Marvel. Then I told him, Spider-Man 2.
Movies.
Well, I said Spider-Man 2 had the Skrulls.
Yeah.
Goes, oh, yeah, I guess you're right. They did.
Yeah.
Like, he just forgot who the Skrulls even were.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, I get it. This has been a weird show. This could be a whole phase, and it's just a Nick Fury TV series. So,
Disney's hurting because, honestly, I think a big reason they're hurting is because of the rehashes. Even though they're like, well, we'll go back to Toy Story and your favorites, but I think that's what drove a lot of people away. Is we're just like, we're just tired of it.
Yeah.
Like, quit making remake Lion King. Like we don't need those remade.
Right.
Well, yeah. The Little Mermaid was pretty bad.
Little Mermaid. Yeah, that was another one that Disney's been. I mean, Star Wars is not in the greatest of shape right now. I mean, Andor was fantastic. It was one of the best shows I've watched in a long time. That's all they've had.
I've rewatched. I saw something the other day. I can't remember what it was on YouTube or whatever, but it was the last scene between Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor.
Anakin's gone.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Anakin.
I am not your failure.
Obi-Wan. And I thought to myself, gosh, if we'd gotten more of this.
Yeah.
The Obi-Wan series, if we just gotten more of this, would have been awesome. But, as it was. Disney's not the only studio that's in trouble, but they are in trouble. There's a lot of stuff out there. I mean,
they just don't have a lot going for them right
now. They just had the Guardians of the Galaxy is really the only one that has hit for them
since
over the last few months, or so. Like, I mean, because if we're looking at Disney, we're talking Quantumania, Guardians of the Galaxy, Little Mermaid. Now we've got Indy. Now we've got Elemental. So 1 for 5 is not good. That's not a good place to be. The guy who built the Guardians,
hey everybody, I'm James Gunn,
is gone too. Like he's not going to be around to save your rear end out of this, because I mean all 3 of those Guardians movies have been just dynamite. It's not looking good for Disney. I agree with Morgan. I think I've been hesitant on these trailers watching this Dial of Destiny stuff, and I'm like, man, this is not. I hope I'm wrong. I really do, but I don't.
I hear the first 20 minutes are really good.
That's good.
Yeah,
that's about it.
Well, but then
the real question though here is like, how does Disney get out of this? Who's accountable here? I mean, how does Kathleen Kennedy still have a job? How does I know Bob Iger came back in and might be making some changes, but there's gotta be accountability after this.
Damn right.
I think with some upcoming news we're going to talk about.
Yeah, I don't know. Like the other thing that I look at here, I don't know how Disney writes the ship on this one. They heads need to roll, and they need to make some changes, and they need to go back. They need to go back to basics. They really need to go back to the basics, which is character development, and put that stuff in there. Stop. And this was the problem with the movies in the 90s and the early 2000s when CGI first came along. Became spectacle. Yeah. It just became like they leaned on special effects to get everything through, and for the most part, people were like, "Oh, this is really cool." But Jurassic Park is not great because of the dinosaurs.
Right.
I mean, that is good, but it's a great movie because it's a great story and the characters you care about. And I was reading a story, I think it was in Variety or whatever, earlier today or yesterday about the month of July. So the month of July, we have Mission Impossible, which I know is going to be amazing. Barbie, I know is going to be amazing. And I know that Oppenheimer is going to be amazing. And they all come out within 3 weeks of each other. Like it's one Mission Impossible. And then I think a week or two later, it's Barbie and Oppenheimer. And we'll find out if the fans are tired of going to the movies or if it really is just quality of content. And I think it's going to be quality of content because we've already seen with Avatar.
Literally right now, Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse.
Yeah. Which I another bit on that
right now, you know.
And to go back on that, James Gunn, Rosenbaum asked James Gunn straight up, best superhero movie ever made. You know what his answer is?
Into the Spider-Verse.
Into the Spider-Verse.
So does that make you want to watch it?
Not a chance.
Get the language out.
Not an animation. No, I'm just joking. I have softened on it. I will tell you that James Gunn has softened me on that. I may watch it.
All right. Speaking of James Gunn, he's going to start us off on the rundown. So let's get to the rundown.
The way I see it, it's a banner headline, front page, maybe one picture.
There's only one P in rapist. Lois Lane, say hello to Clark Kent. Told you one P.
Hey nerds, quick edit here. First up on the rundown was the story of the screen test that took place this past weekend for the new Lois Lane Daily Planet reporter and some guy named Clark Kent. We all had the most perfect insights into these screen tests, so good that we're just going to keep them to ourselves because we live in a world where news comes at you fast. As they announced the winners the day after we recorded. So we're going to drop you back into the show where we actually started talking about the eventual winner of Lois Lane, Rachel Brosnahan, whom you might know from House of Cards and The Marvelous Miss Maisel. And as you can see here as well, David Cornsweet is our new Superman. Good luck to these actors from the Nerd Rundown. Now here's some advice from our good friend Ferris Bueller.
Life moves pretty fast. You don't stop and look around once in a while, you could miss it.
Because Rachel Brosnahan is probably the most acclaimed actress on here. She is the lead actor to her show, The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. We've been trying to figure out what else she was in. She was in House of Cards. She's probably the biggest name. I don't see Nicholas Hoult as Clark either. But one interesting note was that they like him so much that they maybe even have him test for Lex.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah. So speaking of which, I'll throw it over to you, Eric. The names we have for Lex Luthor: Alexander and Bill Skarsgård. Skarsgård.
Thank you.
Wait, is that It Clown?
Yeah, It Clown. and he just was in Billions. He was the billionaire in Billions, or not Billions, in Succession. Pretty Little Lies or Big Little Lies? Big Little Lies.
You're the guy that dies.
Yeah.
The husband.
Did he die in that? Yeah, I think he
Isn't
did.
there the husband that gets pushed down the stairs?
Oh, yeah, I think so. He was a jerk or something, right?
Yeah.
You're talking about Alexander Skarsgård?
Yeah, so Alexander Skarsgård and his brother Bill are both screen testing for Lex. Do you see either of those as Lex or even Nicholas Hoult?
Actually, if Bill is creepy. Like Bill is a creepy dude. So even in John Wick 4, he was just a little odd, a little off.
Yeah.
I'm curious into what direction they're going with Lex Luthor as well. It's like I do like
Lex who?
You know, I never said that. I said I've never seen you looser.
Yeah, I do like Holt. I actually do like Holt in that role. I think I could see him. in the Lex Luthor role. I really do. So
I'd rather him in that than Superman.
Yeah, if you really wanted to kind of, I would say probably Alexander and Holt are probably my two guys that I would go with for that one. That's probably how I would.
Do they want to make Lex older? Do they want to make him the same age? The direction James Gunn's going.
He was very. I'll just say this: in the interview that I listened to, he played his cards really close to the chest because Michael Robinson played Lex Luthor on the show.
Rosenbaum.
Sorry, Rosenbaum. Yep. Sorry. He played Luthor on the show, and a lot of people, when they look at Lex Luthor because of that show, that's who they see.
Dude,
they see him as Lex Luthor. So I think
I'm one of those.
So we'll see.
That Superman and Lois show has a pretty good Lex Luthor. Michael Cudlitz.
Cudlitz.
Mike Cudlitz. I like that guy. I mean, he's Abraham in The Walking Dead.
Yeah. Michael Cudlitz, I think, right?
Yeah. He plays a very intense guy. He could do a very intense guy.
Right.
Well, and the interesting thing about this for us is, and for anybody who's interested in the DC stuff, this will be the first movie in the DCU. This will be the first full-length feature movie that's in the DCU. So this will be the first thing that people see.
Or no, I thought the first one was going to be like an animated movie.
Well, yes, you're talking about the Commando,
or whatever.
Captain Command. No.
No, it's something.
Technically, they're considering Blue Beetle to be the first DCU movie.
Well,
but the first one created within the DCU.
Yeah.
So the character, the Blue Beetle character, is the first introduction, but it's not part of the DCU that they're planning to build. Just the character itself.
Are you saying that's because you've seen the end of Flash?
No, I'm just saying because I
just want to make sure.
That's how James Gunn described it.
There.
Yeah, that's how James Gunn described it on that podcast. Was that Blue Beetle is the first character
of the new DC stuff.
What is it? Something Commandos.
Yeah.
It's like and I think it's like the Weasel and all that. That's
no, it's something else. It's its own little team, right?
No, you guys are talking about the same thing. You just can't remember what it's called.
I can't put the name. I can't put the name of it together right now. But then
that's a good sign. That's the
Superman Legacy will be the first live action full featured DC property, and then from there we'll get into some other things, including season 2 of
Flash.
Come on,
Creature Commandos.
Not Flash. Creature Commandos. That's it. Yeah. We'll get season 2 of Peacemaker. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, next on the rundown, we have news out of Middle Earth, one of my favorite places. So we had we talked about it. I think it was last year, late summer last year, when the Embracer Group bought the rights to everything Tolkien. J.R.R. Tolkien wrote, and there was reports out there that they spent like $2 billion, which you would think that still would be a good deal. I mean, Star Wars went for $4 billion.
Yeah.
So the Hollywood Reporter reported though today that they found out that they only bought the rights for $395 million.
That's a hell of a deal.
It also includes so this includes the movie rights, the video game rights, the merch, theme park attractions, and even stuff on the stage like Broadway if things get made there.
Wait.
So hold on.
Okay.
Hold your question. There's a two-part story here. So with that in mind, now it's still with Warner Brothers for the distribution rights. They will still produce everything and it's made at the Warner Brothers lot or wherever.
Yep.
They're bringing
and New Line Cinema.
Yeah, Peter Jackson into the fold to kind of be the new, maybe Feige, the new James Gunn of the Lord of the Rings property. A, smart move? Yes. Yes. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes.
B, man, what do you want to see from Lord of the Rings now? Now that you know that they have the video games, the movies, all that. I'll start with you, Eric. Tell me more about what you think about this.
Well, I'm curious, just to reverse just really quickly, I'm curious if the family or the people who owned it are also getting a cut of the profits. They probably,
if they sold it for that low.
Yeah, I imagine they probably sold it for that low. They probably said, but we still want a certain percentage of your receipts or whatever.
Oh my God! Even if they're like, "Hey, we'll just take 2% of everything you make from now on."
Yep. Yeah.
I mean, I'd hope. I surely hope.
Because otherwise, that was a world-class ripoff. Like for $400 million, that's.
They must have got whoever owned the rights really drunk. It was like,
they're going to make that in merch in the first month.
Yeah, for sure. So, well, okay. So, the Lord of the Rings series, Peter Jackson's version of Lord of the Rings was just absolutely incredible. Now, I read the 3 books and I enjoyed them. I had to go through the singing parts, like I skipped over all that stuff because those were super boring. Yeah, right. But seeing them on the screen was a different story. Seeing the hobbits, sing to each other and all that stuff. It was, and just all that stuff was just a lot cooler. So
yeah,
I don't know that there's anything specific that I'd like to see done that I don't know about already. I think like the Rohan, I'd like to see more of maybe the Rohan folks. I really enjoyed.
There's an animated movie, and I know you love animated movies. There's an animated movie coming out for that.
Yeah, so
it's called.
Well, then I'm not the only one who likes the Rohirrim. Yeah. So I think that's maybe the one thing that I'd like to see more of. But at the same time, it's such a timeless and legendary story that you could, and you could mine the heck, no pun intended, with the dwarves and stuff. Yeah, thank you.
It would have been nice if it was intended.
Yeah.
Scratch that. Let's edit it. Say it wasn't intended.
I did. I meant that the whole time. So,
you spent 3 days writing that.
I think it'll be. I'm really excited to kind of see where they're going to go with this. I'm not a huge Lord of the Rings fan, but I did enjoy the 3. And I will tell you that for years, and I'm not even kidding you, years, probably 3, 4, 5 years, the extended versions of Howard Shore's score was in my rotation of stuff to listen to. Just amazing. And if you ever get an opportunity to look at the paperwork that came with, I think it's probably in book form too, but the paperwork that came with the extended versions of the music, he goes into so much detail. Howard Shore goes into so much detail as to how he chose each instrument and the signature sound for each of the worlds that are out there, like the Rohan, the people of Rohan. They had that. He had that fiddle that's like but it's a very special one. It's not just any one off the shelf. It's like a very special one. And the same thing with the Elvish stuff, and just each one has their own theme that kind of comes with it. And it just, and I thought to myself, like, the reason why all 3 of those movies are so good is because of Howard Shore and the amount of level of detail that he goes into with that stuff, and Peter Jackson and the foresight and the level of detail that he goes in to immerse you into Middle Earth.
Yeah.
They built the set for the Hobbits a year before they even started filming, so that it would have time to grow. Yeah. All the grass would have time to grow. The flowers would have time to grow. Like how often do you see that stuff? Like that's just
don't. And it's now like a.
Nowadays,
it's like
just
a real
CGI.
Town, though.
Yeah.
Well,
they are. You could go
it's
visit.
just a town.
Yeah.
Everything's a CGI fest now.
They just CGI that crap now, and it's like,
dude.
I have a lot of questions about this.
Yeah, go ahead, Morg.
Yeah, go.
Well, first a statement.
Okay.
Erik, hats off to your nerdum. I can never read a book about the instruments picked for hobbits. Lord of the Rings. So hats off to your nerdum, sir. That's too much for me.
Hell yes.
But we
I
get
also am a reader.
Yeah, we get good information like that you just gave. That where else are you going to get info like that other than the Nerd Run?
That's right.
Absolutely.
Two, is this related to who makes the Rings of Power? So does this mean this could be its own
I have this answer
thing now? Okay.
So they do not have the rights to the TV shows, the Embracer Group. Okay.
Good.
Amazon owns the TV rights. The crossover, the Venn diagram, so to speak, is the merch. So Rings of Power merch now has to go through the Embracer Group because they own the rights to all the merch. Now the movies are distributed by Warner Brothers to the movie theaters, but once they are released home digitally, most likely now, and, you know, a few Blu-rays here and there, I guess, Amazon has the rights to that. So it's like a...
Take a look at this. Jesus Christ, that right there is the mail. Now let's talk about the mail. Can we talk about the mail, please, Mac? I'm dying to talk about the mail with you all day, okay?
So this company can go ahead and just start doing their own movies, their own shows, not attached to that. They can just do whatever the hell they want with what they purchased.
The Embracer Group cannot do TV shows.
Oh, they can't make any TV shows. They can only do movies.
They can only
interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. That's interesting.
But then Amazon, but is Amazon limited to
there's
content?
still some probably there's
They're
definitely
limited. They're limited to all the made up stuff that.
They can't actually do
rights to
anything. So that's a huge gaping hole.
Amazon has the rights to like some appendices.
Yes,
not even,
but
even like part of them.
Right. Like a section
and
of
they
it.
still messed it up.
Interesting.
Well, yeah, but it is it's an okay show. The last half is much better.
I'm game for Peter Jackson, Lord of the Rings movie universe that will shut down Rings of Power because this will be way better, and then they're going to start making their own shows. It's going to turn into the next Marvel.
I know, though. Here's where my dilemma on this is: there's so much amazing content and lore in what you guys know from the Lord of the Rings books and the movies is like 10% of the story.
I say we go back. Let's start.
I know,
not at the beginning, but let's start with some of the big fights.
It would be better
before
told.
Sauron.
It would be better.
Yeah.
Oh, Sauron is like
he's like
Sauron's there from the very beginning, basically. But
Sauron,
the first age. So the War of the Ring is what it's called. That ended the third age. The second age, there's like that's kind of what the Rings of Power is doing right now. Is expanding that. That's one area that Tolkien never really wrote a whole lot about. And then the first age is some of the most incredible storytelling you could ever read. Now, it comes from the Silmarillion, which is a really hard read, and I would love to see the first age come to life. And
I am fine with a first age.
Yeah.
Boom. Think of that as our first phases of Marvel. Boom.
Yeah.
First phase is done. That's our end game. We do a second phase. Boom, finish that. Second phase ends with a de-aged Frodo. And boom, now we have a third age, the original Peter Jackson movies. Finish. I'm fine with that.
Boom goes the dynamite.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Boom goes the dynamite.
And boom goes the dynamite.
Yeah, I'd love that. I would love to see the first age expanded on, but you know what? I also want to see a young Strider, or Aragorn. I'd love to see a Legolas show. I'd like to just see more of the elves, and that's a lot of the first age. The elves are the story in the first age. It's the time of the elves, really, until the War of the Ring ends, and then it's the time of men after that. Dude, the Lord of the Rings is easy to nerd out about. So I'll move on.
I'd really like to see the dwarves. Like the world that the dwarves built is just
you get
loaded.
to see that a bit in Rings of Power, which is great. You get to see Moria at its height, and it's beautiful. The Rings of Power it's not the greatest, but I will be watching it again because I can consume Lord of the Rings content like nobody's business.
Would you watch it again if this company announces, oh, hey, by the way, we're going to start a whole new universe starting with the first age?
No.
Would you be like, all right, Rings of Power, dead to me?
Sorry, bro.
Dead to me instantly. Sorry, don't even bother with it. Just cancel all your plans. Yeah.
Sucks to suck. Get out of here. Absolutely, in a heartbeat. It is an exciting time to be a Lord of the Rings fan. I'll say that. Speaking of a great universe, Loki Season 2 has got a new synopsis. And then they also announced that there's going to be a trailer, an official trailer released during Comic-Con next month. Here's what the synopsis says. Loki Season 2 picks up in the aftermath of the shocking season finale when Loki finds himself in a battle for the soul of the Time Variance Authority. Along with Mobius, Hunter, B-15, and a team of new and returning characters, Loki navigates an ever-expanding and increasingly dangerous multiverse in search of Sylvie, Judge Renslayer, Miss Minutes, and the truth of what it means to possess free will and glorious purpose.
I am Loki of Asgard, and I am burdened with glorious purpose.
Love that little part. Morg, I'll start with you. You excited for season 2 of Loki?
Yes and no. I did like season 1 of Loki. I thoroughly enjoyed it. I wanted, like, when it ended, I was like, oh shit, where's this going? Let's see.
Okay.
But now that I've gotten more of the universe, I'm like, I'll leave it. It's up in the air for me now. Because it could turn out to be complete crap. Now, now I'm on the fence of, like, it could be bad. There was a time where I'd walk into it like, oh, everything's going to be good. Now I walk into it like, I better go in with my expectations down, so that way I'm more excited. I'm not disappointed. I'm either going to turn out exactly like I thought, or I'm going to be happy.
Yeah.
And I think that's just because of the recent string of Marvel movies that they've had, that I'm just like, I don't care as much.
Okay. Interesting, Eric, that...
I'm going to watch it. I'm going to watch it, though.
I know you are. You will watch this show.
I'll watch this one.
Eric, do you think the lack of mention around Jonathan Majors' character that was teased in a post-credit scene in Quantumania, do you think a lack of mention of any of that has anything to do with anything, or is it meaningless?
No, I think it's pretty much meaningless at this point. I think Disney's made their strategy clear. They're going to keep pushing forward unless they have to change something, but they're just going to play down anything. They're just going to lay low. Man, it's what DC. Honestly, this is one of the instances where maybe Marvel is following DC's strategy, which was like DC Ezra. Pretty much was just like just keep quiet and just
that mofo still gets a movie. Jonathan Majors has got to get it.
I don't know that exactly.
Yeah, I don't know, man. This is a little bit different, but
he didn't beat up half of Hawaii. Like that's
he also didn't kidnap a kid. But
Miller did a lot.
It's apples to oranges, actually.
Yeah,
so it doesn't matter.
So we'll see. I don't think. I think the strategy for these guys is let's just not mention it. Let's not talk about it. If anybody asks a question, we move right on. We're not going to talk about that type of thing. So I think from what I've seen, behind like reading stuff from other people, is that he's in it. It's going to be, and I don't see how they could change anything unless because they don't know anything. They don't know where this is going. The nice thing about this being multiverse stuff is I honestly think that you could just snap your fingers and it's a different dude, and everybody's like, "This is King," It's just like,
if you thought Doctor Strange seeing all the outcomes but only one works was the ultimate cop out,
right?
Multiverse, and time travel.
I don't know. We'll see. I don't think it's going to make a difference. What about you?
I think that was a good question. I think their synopsis of it was very deliberate.
Okay. Yeah.
Because Loki, spoilers for Loki season 1, ended with the statue of Kang. That was the big scare. That synopsis seems to focus more on girl Loki than, like, I could see them say, looking for Sylvia while facing the menacing threat of Kang. No, they don't do that. It's he's just looking for the girl he likes.
Yeah.
I think that's very deliberate.
Judge Renslayer and Miss Minutes as well. I don't remember Miss Minutes going missing.
Well, that may just be because of how all of the Time Authority changed.
Right,
but I guess she was.
No,
but maybe. Miss Minutes could be like a Jarvis. Maybe she's a constant and can kind of see it all.
Or maybe
she'll help Loki.
Maybe in that universe, she's a animated clock. Maybe she's a real person in another universe.
Right.
We've seen Loki be an alligator.
So. The real question is, are we getting the jet ski?
I mean, again, that's the ultimate goal here with this multiverse is to get Owen Wilson on a jet ski.
On a jet ski.
I'm
God
perfectly
bless him.
fine if they end the whole no multiverse with him on a jet ski.
If we could just get a jet ski.
That's what it is. That's the end. He breaks it by riding the jet ski.
My own glorious purpose.
Yeah.
He breaks the loop.
So we get a trailer at Comic-Con, right? And which is interesting because Marvel is not going to Comic-Con. So next on the rundown, Comic-Con, I don't know if you'd say it's in trouble, but it's in a year of strikes. So there's a lot of big studios pulling out of Comic-Con. You have Disney, Marvel, Lucasfilm, HBO, Netflix, and Universal all pulling out. The ones that are staying as of right now are Paramount to promote Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Mutant Mayhem, which releases only like a few weeks later. Amazon, which has a bunch of properties, and then Warner Brothers DC will, they're still hanging on. So they might have some panels. So Eric, do you think Comic-Con's in trouble here, or is this, a down year, maybe like a COVID year? Think it'll bounce back next year? What do you think?
I'm hoping beyond hope because I'm not going to Comic-Con this year, and I really would like to go to a Comic-Con, and I really would like for a lot of Hollywood stuff to still be there. So selfishly, yeah, that's what I'm hoping for. That's because it's like I don't know if next year is going to be the year, but at some point, hopefully before I die, I'm able to get to at least one Comic-Con at San Diego Comic-Con. I'd really like to do it. Although I sent you a link to it earlier. The Denver Expo coming up this weekend, the Fan Expo, exciting. Is loaded with a bunch of great talent. I if nothing else, I'd love to see the Vacation cast together. The National Lampoon's Vacation cast was pretty much Chevy Chase, Beverly D'Angelo, Michael, Dana Barrow, like literally everybody.
Dude, they're gonna have Charlie Cox here.
Yep, Charlie Cox
and Vincent
D'Onofrio. Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, they've got a ton of Denver Fan Expos. So if you're listening to this,
well, all these shows are on strike right now. All these shows are on strike right now. So we can get some big names at this Comic-Con coming up, where they call it Fan Expo.
Right. So what's interesting about this is that from what I read, there is the big studios have till June 30th to come to terms with this thing, and if that expires, then all the union actors will not be permitted to promote projects at anything, including San Diego Comic-Con. So I think that's why a lot of these studios are just planning for the worst and saying, "Hey, this is not going to happen because we don't think we're going to come to a deal, before that." That's really the kind of the tea leaves. I think everybody's reading into this is that the writers are just going to have to, they're going to have to keep holding out because the studios don't seem to be. I saw where I think the directors, they just finalized the deal with the Directors Guild. They wanted some changes, so I think all this stuff is kind of hitting the studios all at one time because I think there was an actors one as well that they just redid. So I don't know. We could be in for a long fight here. I think. Which is interesting because as we've seen from the shows that we love to watch, the movies that made us, writing is one of the biggest deals, man. Like, and you'll have a story that comes out and it's like, yeah, we want to do this story. And then they're like, but we need a script and it needs to be rewritten. And they go through 5-6 writers to get the story right. And what ends up on the pages or comes off the pages onto the screen is, just really terrific. So overall, like I said, selfishly hoping San Diego Comic-Con sticks around and has a good connection with Hollywood, but we'll see.
Right. I think bringing in bigger names back next year will just bring it. Yeah. It'll bring it back to.
And I gotta say, Hollywood, I'll scab it up. I'll cross those picket lines. Whatever you need to be to write.
Yeah, get off the show. Get off the show.
I guarantee you won't even have to pay me as much as you're probably paying those guys. I'll write you a movie.
Afabsolutely.
Also, I don't think
there's a stack of paper and some crayons. More good luck. All right. So
if Multiverse of Madness can win people's choice, I'm pretty sure I can make something that's going to win.
You know what? Just get writing. Start writing and just start submitting stuff.
Put something together.
Yeah.
Something together.
James Cameron, I know everybody's backing out right now. I got a movie for you.
You want to bring like a business case to the interview. All right.
Too soon to make a Titan sub movie?
What's that?
Too soon to make a Titan sub movie?
Too soon, Donna. Too soon.
No.
What's up?
Mortal Kombat next on the rundown. We got our first look at Karl Urban as. Let me back that up. We got our first look at Karl Urban in his Johnny Cage look, I guess you would say. It's a. I'll throw it up on the screen. Asked around a dinner table. It's basically Billy Butcher without the beard. So
it's Karl Urban.
Yeah. So I'll start with you, Morg. I don't know. There's not much to say here. It's a
nothing
behind
burger.
The scenes picture. It's more about is Karl Urban the right guy here?
No, I don't think Karl Urban's the right guy. Now I like that they got him because Karl Urban makes good movies. He does. He's got some good bangers out there. He also appreciates, I think, source material. So I think it's a good sign they got him. At the same time, I don't know. I just picture Johnny Cage being a younger actor. You know what I mean? Just an actor at the top of his game. That's just an a-hole. And I don't picture Karl Urban. So it depends on what they're going for with him.
I know. It's crazy. Like, is he going to...
As long as he does his split where he punches somebody in the crotch.
I just don't see like kung fu Karl Urban doing kung fu. I don't know. Eric, do you have a different picture in your head?
I don't.
Okay,
I don't.
yeah.
I'm in agreement. I'm in agreement with you guys. I'm not sure what direction they're going with on this one. And I'm still wounded. I got to be honest. I'm still wounded from the last Mortal Kombat movie because the trailer for that, like, I wish the movie was just like the trailer because that trailer was amazing.
I enjoyed the movie. It's not good, but it was fun. I thought.
I was just like, oh, they're gonna get to the tournament. No, they're not getting to the tournament. No tournament.
No.
So that was
no Mortal Kombat.
Yeah.
Still wounded from that movie.
But I think if they release it right, it's gonna do well. I know Mortal Kombat 1 remake the game. Call it a remake. It's like a soft reboot that's coming out.
Yeah.
Soon they've been releasing footage. So if they kind of time it right now, that game's going to come out before the movie, but I think it might get enough hype that I think it'll do well. I think the movie's going to do well.
I think it is. Karl
Urban's got enough pull behind him. Yeah, he's got enough pull behind him.
There's a big following, the big boys following, I should say. Next and last on the rundown, we have a show. You guys may not even started this or have watched it, but I'm trying to keep up on all the content out there. And Silo is some really good content that's getting better with each episode. And it turns out it's the biggest show on Apple Plus. Which blows my mind.
Now that Ted Lasso is done.
Now that Ted Lasso's done. Now that Shrinking's done. It's their biggest show right now, which is amazing. This show gives me Lost vibes, and that is I don't know what's better than that, right? So it gets renewed for a season 2. It's not even done with its first season. That's usually a good sign as well. You guys haven't seen it, so there's not much to call on, but it's exciting for Silo fans, which is, it's an 8.7 on IMDb. It's 80, or I'm thinking it's 87% on Rotten Tomatoes. It was like 8.6 though on IMDb. So it's a highly rated show. Fans are loving it. The mystery about why are they in the silo? Because it takes place 140 years after they went into the silo, and nobody alive knows why they're there.
Is that 140 years from like today in that world? I don't know if they announced when it ends or whatever the deal is.
They don't even really. Okay. But yeah, you probably can imagine. I mean, if you see the machine that builds the silo, you'd be like, yeah, that's probably like at least today, if not 20 years in the future. It's just really cool, the mystery. And I got Lost vibes almost immediately from it. So
the trailer for it, when I saw the trailer for it, I thought it was great. Rebecca Ferguson's in it, amazing. I watched an interview of her on the red carpet with I think it was for Mission Impossible. I know it was for Mission Impossible, but I can't remember who the interviewer was. And man, either she's really, really fun and super, super charming, just normal, or she'd had a little bit to drink before, because it was
either way.
It was really entertaining. I'll just say that. It was really entertaining.
Wait, what was the questions then when I was interviewing her?
It was not. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I actually really liked this one, but I have a bad habit of watching stuff and then they cancel the show. And so that was one that I looked at it and I thought, oh man, I'll love that friggin' show. But I'm not watching it until they tell me there's going to be a second season, because I'm not going to get hooked into something and then get left holding the bag, I guess, or whatever, which is what usually happens with a lot of those cool sci-fi-ish,
Counterpart. Did you guys ever watch Counterpart?
I don't know if I ever watched that one.
With J.K. Simmons, and it's a multiverse show.
No, I didn't. I wanted to.
So it's 2 seasons. It got canceled, but they knew that, and they finished it off this. Well, I left out big tease for the future, but yeah, that was a show that got canceled way too soon.
Yeah,
that was a great
there was a show on was 2009-ish called Flash Forward.
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
I was all into that, and I freaking loved it, man. And then they just went.
Well, that
same thing.
It was. Did it
Firefly?
Did it overlap with Lost? It was after Lost, wasn't it?
2009. So it was right around the same time, I think, if not.
I think Lost ended in 2010, which I know for sure it did.
Yeah. A little bit of overlap there, I think.
So there was some overlap because it had some of the it had a Oceanic 815 Easter egg in the pilot.
Yeah.
For Flash Forward, it had Charlie or Dominic Monaghan. So there was some some crossover there too.
John Cho was in it from Harold and Kumar. He was really good.
Okay,
and it was really just a cool premise too. The way it
was.
Was it 15 seconds or was it 15 minutes that the world went?
I think
dark?
it was 15 minutes. I want to say it was like 15 minutes or something like that. That everything went crazy. But yeah,
it could have been even 15 seconds, and the world would go to
shit. Yeah.
Cool show. Anyway, Silo, Nerd Rundown recommended. Give you that. Choo choo trailer train. First up on the trailer train, the Beanie Bubble. Which, if you, I think you should go out and watch both of these movies on the trailer train, because they both are really good trailers and some fairly good performances. But you have to go see this just for Zach Galifianakis without a beard. And being charismatic, and well, not necessarily charismatic, but because he's definitely like an asshole. We'll just put it that way. Beanie Bubble. Eric, what did you think of the Beanie Bubble trailer?
Really enjoyed it. Like you said, could not get over. Like you could hear his voice, and then when his face comes on, you're like, that's not Zach Galifianakis.
I'm like, who's that?
I've only ever seen him with a beard, and so it was really, really, really weird. But he's so funny. I mean, he's so funny, and without even trying, it just feels like just with his looks, just the way he presents himself. And then Elizabeth Banks is just terrific in just about anything she does. She's so good, so talented. So. And I think it's a ripoff of the Beanie Baby Mania, but it's gotta be, because I don't think they have the rights to use those, so they just used a generic stuffed animal thing that they've, and then of course, and then of course it's just basically they've just gone crazy on the, the over the top on everything. So, but yeah, so I think it's going to be. I think it looks really fun. I really do. I think it looks absolutely hilarious. And, there'll be a little bit of drama in there too, but it looks pretty hilarious. So
it's a big old no.
From Sony, I think, right?
I believe so.
It was
yes.
Sony. It was, because I thought at first it was going to be an Apple Plus movie, but or wait, no, this is the Apple Plus.
It is Apple Plus.
The next one is Sony. Sorry.
Yeah, it is an Apple Plus.
Yeah.
And you know what I found interesting is it's the same complaint I have with, or it fixes the complaint I have with Netflix.
Okay.
Guess what? It drops in first. the movie theater. And then like 2 weeks later, it's available to stream on. So why can't Netflix do the same thing? Like, why can't I watch Extraction 2 on the big screen in the theater? Like, why can't I do that? Like, it's not going to hurt your streaming numbers. People are going to watch it there, and then they're going to, the people who are not going to get off their couch are not going to get off their couch. In fact, you're going to make money on the deal. Like, the box office is going to pull in more money. So
I would love to.
Yeah, see, I think it's a big mistake.
Extraction 2 on the big screen. Oh man.
See, I think that's a mistake. It should just be streaming or theater. Like, not that close, because the fact that you just said, theater, and then 2 weeks it's on streaming, immediately out of my head, I'm not going to go to theater.
Yeah, but you don't have to. You're never going to anyhow.
Yeah.
But I mean,
you were never
the way I look at it is, but the way I look at it is they're going to lose money because they have to pay theaters to show it. They get a cut of it.
It'll make more than enough money. I
don't think so.
Maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
I don't think this movie has enough pull. The fact that it's Zach Galifianakis without a beard, I'm already out. I stared way too long at the trailer going, who's that? I know that. Oh, it's Zach Galifianakis. I was like, I'm out. I can't do it. No beard. No, I think they're going to lose too much money on it, I think. Or I don't think they'll break even on that.
I don't know if we'll ever even know. That's the thing. We'll never know. But I would like the option of seeing Extraction 2 in the theater, because that movie...
That makes more sense.
Oh my gosh, people go watch Extraction 2.
I'm not saying that they need to do it on everyone. I'm just saying that...
No.
Yeah, Netflix, I want the option. That would be great to have the option.
They did it with
Gray Man,
Glass
right?
Onion
and with Inhuman
and Gray Man.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and with
Gray Man in the theater?
Yeah, Gray Man was in the theater. I think that's my biggest problem with it is they don't give you any time. Like they give you 2 weeks. You get 2 weeks to see it, and then after that they're put on the streaming service. It's like, okay, well,
they did it with Inhumans.
The streaming people are not going to.
It went well for Inhumans.
Son, just don't.
They're not gonna stop their subscription because you put Gray Man in the theater for 3 weeks and didn't let them watch it. They're not going to stop their subscription. They're going to keep their subscription. That's not going to do anything different. So you put it in the theaters for 3 weeks, a month, something like that, 30 days. People. So I don't know.
It's interesting that this is the movie that they're choosing to test.
Yeah, I think it should be a different movie.
We'll see.
Extraction 2 would be a good one.
Yeah.
Extraction 2 is on Netflix, and this is Apple Plus. Either way, the next movie, what I was thinking was Sony. This is a Sony movie, so Sony. So Sony is releasing a movie called Dumb Money, starring podcast brain. Paul Dano. Got that one. Paul Dano as the guy who started the GameStop stock craze, I guess you would call it.
Meme stocks.
Yeah,
the meme stocks.
Stonks.
From, was that 2 years ago? I feel like maybe
2020. Yep, December 2019.
3 years ago.
Yep.
When everything was going to the moon, right? Was that?
Yep.
So
I've still got my shares of AMC. I've still got my AMC. I'm still hodling.
That's what I like to hear.
Yeah. I got my shares of AMC.
It's only going to increase after this movie.
Yeah.
So, Eric, you excited for this movie then?
I am.
Yeah.
I am. The first thing we were talking about it reminds me of The Big Short. I haven't even watched this movie, but the end of The Big Short is they're like, and these guys went to jail, and these guys went to jail, and all this other stuff, and then they're like, none of that happened. Nobody went to jail for it. And same thing with this, like Gary Gensler, the chairman of the SEC and all that stuff. It's like none of those guys, all those dudes are still be rich, and they still are front running everything. They still are cheating the retail guy out of money every chance they get. And it's crazy. But I thought the trailer looked great. I think the whole cast looks phenomenal. We get, in addition to Paul Dano, we also get,
While you're looking that up, I'll just talk about Paul Dano real quick, because Paul Dano is on the rise. After his performance in the Batman as the Riddler, and now he's headlining this movie. Watch out for that.
And I still go back to, you haven't seen,
not like he got discovered in the Batman. He's been around for a while.
Right. If you have not watched Prisoners, watch Prisoners.
So good.
You will be like, I know it's hard because he is a particular character in there, but if you can't disassociate yourself with the character that he's playing and just see the performance that dude is putting in, you're wrong.
He's on the rise.
Yeah, for sure. But anyhow, so you get Pete Davidson, who I'm not a big fan of, but everybody else seems to love him. Seth Rogen is in it. He looks great. Sebastian Stan in it. We love him. Vincent D'Onofrio, Nick Offerman, America Ferrera. We get a ton of really, really great stuff. Really great folks. I think Clancy Brown, one of our favorites, is in.
Yeah.
I don't know what role he's playing, but
Nick
Shailene
Offerman.
Woodley looks like
Nick
she is
Offerman
playing
without a beard as well.
Hi, everyone. Welcome to L.
Yeah, Sans beard.
Another person I hate seeing without a beard or a mustache.
Wait a minute. Back this up.
Yeah.
Something's going on. What do we
So
got now?
Shailene Woodley plays Dano's girlfriend or his wife, I think, in that one. I think it's his wife or whatever.
Yeah.
But there's a great scene in the trailer where she's like, "How much did you make yesterday?" And he's like, "How much did you make today? $5 million. How much did you make yesterday? $4 million."
Yeah.
Compared with Seth Rogen, like, "How much did you lose today? $1 billion. How much did you lose yesterday? $1 billion." It's just like, So
yeah, that was a great dichotomy of those two, like going in opposite directions.
Yeah.
Clancy Brown, who I recently watched in John Wick 4.
Yes.
But yeah, the trailer looks good. I will for sure be watching this movie.
It's 4.
Yeah, this could be a theater movie. This is a very
This is one Stace and I'll go see together. Yeah, for sure.
It's going to be it feels like The Big Short. Yeah. That's a really good analogy.
So.
Yeah.
So we got a really fun NerdBox question here from Big Mike Hodgkinson, who must have just watched John Wick 4 as well, Morgan.
Yep.
And he says, man, Keanu Reeves has a great top 4. Point Break, Speed, The Matrix, John Wick. Be interesting to see if that is what everybody thinks is his top 4. I think that's his top 4. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
When we approach it with the action caveat.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, for sure. I don't even know.
But you probably put A Walk in the Clouds with him, right? Isn't it?
That's one of the best movies he's ever. What's the lake movie?
Well, yeah, that's what I was like. What's the lake movie?
And the mail.
Okay, so then the rest of his question says, is there an action movie actor who has a stronger top 4 than Keanu's top 4? Arnold, Sly, and Tom, probably?
I'm Ron Burgundy.
He says, rank them, please.
Should we say who we think? So this was tough because I originally came up with somebody and then I read the question a little bit more. Like I thought about it more and said, who has a stronger top 4, but it's coming to action.
Okay.
And I got to say it, I went cliche, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Okay.
Now for me, I picked a list. Now I didn't Google like what they make. I picked the list. Now we have Terminator on there.
Okay.
Including the franchise. He says The Matrix. I'm assuming he's including the franchise. All right, so Terminator specifically 1 and 2, obviously. But I've got Predator, Total Recall. I have 2 more on my list. That's 5, I know. But I couldn't decide between the 2. True Lies and Running Man.
He was asking, which is okay. He was asking, like, who has the better top 4 between Sylvester Stallone, Arnold, Tom, and Keanu?
Oh. See, I took it as who would you pick? Because he goes Arnold, Sly, and Tom, probably. So I feel like he's saying who would you pick has a stronger action movie presence than Keanu Reeves.
That's how I read it. Is there an action movie actor who has a stronger top 4 than Keanu's top 4?
Yeah.
So he has like Arnold, Sly, and Tom probably.
Like he threw out suggestions.
Yeah.
So I agree. I think Arnold is the one. I think action movie, Arnold is an action star to me.
Yeah, I mean, you could go like let's so you throw out like let's say Mel Gibson, so we'll say Lethal Weapon, Braveheart, Mad Max, and then I think you kind of struggle to maybe find the fourth one, except say Lethal Weapon 2, I guess, because those.
All right, we're not counting.
But if you're going to count a franchise, it's just you just include all that, or you go with Sly and his stuff, Rocky, of course,
Rambo.
Rambo, but that's kind of where it ends. Is it's like, okay, well, those are the two franchises that he kind of runs, so it's not as good. Yeah, and then you look at Tom Cruise, and we'll say, okay, Tom Cruise, and he's got the Mission Impossible franchise, Top Gun. He's got Days of Thunder, which is probably, I don't know if it's really an action. There's a lot of action that takes place in it, but I don't know if it's like an action
thriller
movie. But you could go with Oblivion. His Oblivion movie is
Edge of Tomorrow.
There's a ton of stuff.
I mean, I think you go by franchise. You don't go by Mission Impossible Fallout. I think.
But is Point Break a franchise? No, that's on his list. I wouldn't consider the franchise a remake, but it's not a franchise. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but it's not like.
But Keanu Reeves isn't a Point Break. Isn't a remake.
Neither is Speed.
Yeah,
they remade Point Break.
Sure, but that was after him.
Yeah, Speed. There is a 2, but he's not in it.
But again, that's not a remake. Yeah. Like you can only judge his movies by what he was actually in.
Yeah, what I mean is, I don't think it has to be a franchise.
Speed 2.
I don't think it needs to be a franchise. It's just when you think in action stars, is there anyone that you think has better action movies than these Keanu Reeves list?
Yeah.
And I would say, I think all the Arnold Schwarzenegger ones I listed, I would probably watch over some of these. If I had to choose between the two.
Yeah, I don't know. Like Keanu,
man,
quietly is really, really terrific. Like I do love the Terminator movies. I do love that. Yeah. I do love Predator. Yeah. I do love Commando, and I do love True Lies. Yeah, I mean, I love all of those movies. But if I rewind and I say to myself, is Speed a great movie? Yes, it is a great movie. Is it better than Predator?
Bear shit in the woods.
Yeah, right. I don't know, but it's better than Commando. Yeah. And then I can say, okay, well, what about The Matrix? Is The Matrix better than The Terminator? I don't know. It's tough to say.
That's what I mean.
That is
The Matrix
quite a debate.
Pretty doggone good, And
is it better than Kindergarten Cop?
I mean,
right? Yeah.
Freaking Rocky won an Oscar.
Right.
Yeah.
I mean, the Rambo,
True Lies won an Oscar.
The Rambo movies, the Rocky. I mean, Sylvester Stallone is not like a slouch here in this conversation.
All right. So then I would say, Eric, did you have somebody else you would pick then over Keanu Reeves?
No, I agree. I actually agree with you. I just like to give you shit. So that's really what it comes down to.
Well, then he disagrees with me.
Got him.
You got me good.
I love Arnold Schwarzenegger, and I do think that his top 4 are probably better than anything else, and I think maybe the big reason for that is that between him and Sly, he alone defined the action movie genre for a really, really long time. Although I will throw a name in there that maybe could be a bit of a spoiler, okay? And he may not be on your list of action stars because you're like, I don't know if he's really an action star. Where do you rank Harrison Ford?
I thought about that too. Even my wife said Harrison Ford.
Yeah, because you got Indiana Jones.
He's top 5 for sure.
Hands down, Indiana Jones is the action, like it kicked off the action blockbuster stuff. And then you've got him as Han Solo, so and then you've got him also as Jack Ryan, I mean, even though he was a little old.
I think this question is tough because I think when you hear it, I immediately think, all right, if somebody said, hey, list 3 action stars, honestly, Keanu Reeves probably would have popped up.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So can he be the best?
I don't know.
If he wouldn't even pop up in my top 3 action stars,
But is it because you just don't think of those movies like that, or is it?
And exactly, like, is it that, or like, because honestly, a lot of it is when I think Keanu Reeves, I don't think action star because he doesn't look it. You think Arnie in his prime, you think Sly in his prime, you think the big guys that were like, yeah, they look like they could punch a predator in the face.
I definitely look at Keanu as an action star, though.
Yeah. Oh, for sure. But I think, okay, so here's the difference, I think, between Keanu Reeves and everybody else that you're talking about, with the exception of maybe Harrison Ford again is a quiet, and they both fall in the same category to me. They're quiet celebrities.
Yeah.
They're quiet celebrities. So Keanu Reeves is a quiet celebrity. So you don't think of him because he doesn't have this brash and big ego and the giant muscles and he's got to be on TV all the time and he's got to be talking about himself all the time and all that other stuff. That's not who Keanu Reeves is. He is a quiet professional who goes about his work relentlessly, if you will, in a very Terminator-like fashion, that he puts together great movies. He does a terrific job, and you're going to get a great performance out of him. And same thing with Harrison Ford. Like, the guy just quietly puts together just banger after banger after banger of a movie, and everything that he's in, you're like, oh man, this dude he's just great. He's a good actor, and with Schwarzenegger and with Sly, it's I don't know, and I look at guys like Mel Gibson.
They're almost like caricature, at this point,
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of it is what.
Mel Gibson has a say in this too, for sure.
Who plays Falcon?
Anthony Mackie.
Anthony Mackie. It comes back to one of the things he said, which a lot of people have been saying lately. There's no movie stars or action stars anymore.
Exception of Tom Cruise.
Exception. But I mean, it's like what he meant was like Chris Evans. You don't think of him as an action star. You think Captain America is a star,
right?
But you don't think Chris. You know what I mean? Whereas like Arnold, Arnold's an actual. Yeah. But no, it isn't. But at the same time, it's like when I think action star, I didn't think anybody in the Marvel universe, and they made how many action movies?
Yeah. I mean,
none of them popped in my head.
I think it's great.
I mean,
that's a great
Iron
point.
Man is probably more of an action star than Keanu Reeves because he's done way more action movies.
And for them, that's actually a blessing. I would say for those actors, that's actually a blessing because they're not typecast as a superhero.
Yeah.
Right.
And so they can go do, Chris Evans can go do Knives Out and just be spectacular in it. And in a very quiet way, and Ghosted, where he literally plays the antithesis of Captain America to some extent. Just like something else. So
with a great mustache.
Yeah,
he has a great mustache.
So I think there's a lot of this is a great man, Mike. This is a great question. This is a really great question because this is a nerd debate.
Or are you going Keanu? Debate. I feel like we skipped you.
I'm a Tom guy. I think Tom is the greatest action movie star of all time. And, I think people, can define action. There's different eras of action, as I think we've even talked about recently. Yeah, I was going to say even Bruce, as you start really thinking about like the top 5 action stars, you could start pushing Keanu out of it, which is insane because you think about him in action movies. He's got 4 John Wicks. He's got 4 Matrixes. He's got Speed, Point Break. I mean, those are.
What would you? Yeah.
You know who we're missing? I don't know how this slipped through.
If you say Vin Diesel, no.
No. Will Smith. Where do you put Will Smith in this?
I don't know. I mean, he's not. That's the thing. There's so many that like.
You just have to kind of go by era.
He's talking Mr. Summer blockbuster for summer after summer after summer, and you're like.
Yeah, that just changed the conversation for sure. And, may even have another contender is Brad Pitt. Brad Pitt he's done a lot of action before. He can do action as well as anybody.
Nothing as good as The Lost City, though. That's his best.
He was so good at that.
So good at it. So good. Have you watched it? You watched it? Morgan? Oh my gosh!
I don't think Morgan has watched anything in the last 7 months.
You know what I watched? Ted Lasso. It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia. I'm caught up on because the new season's out, and I watch a lot of Scrubs.
I think your wife will even like. Does your wife like Brad Pitt at all, or does she like Channing Tatum?
Does your wife like Brad? Is that even what kind of question is
that? My wife doesn't. She's not a Brad Pitt person.
But she likes Jason Momoa, so
that's true.
There's some.
That's true. Yeah. I'm just saying that's a fun movie for the two of you to watch together. I think you will have a great time watching that one together. Like if you're looking for something for the two of you,
easy win for
you to watch and for her to fall asleep in the first 15 minutes of. I think it's going to be great. Like
she might not fall asleep.
I'm working on the extended director's cut of Lord of the Rings trilogy first, and then
I mean, there's some real out loud belly laughs in The Lost City. Like,
oh my gosh, it's great. It's really great. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's
a great question, Mike. I just thank you.
Yes. I mean, a lot of fun. This like nerding out is one of my most favorite things. And that's what we do here. We mentioned it recently, I think, on the reaction, but we just hit 1,100 subscribers. Yeah. Which I'm very, very excited about. So we get some new faces, new names, like Ray Hernandez. Thank you for commenting.
Yep.
It's really fun to nerd out with you guys. We're all a nerd in our own way, and we all nerd out about something, but we can all nerd out about the same thing as well. Oh, that's what I love. That's why I love being a nerd. So
for sure.
Great rundown. Thinking of action stars. I'm still in my head thinking of action stars in movies. Like
I don't know if I ever stopped thinking about action movies.
That's
actually,
that's fair.
I could talk about action movies for the rest of my life, and I plan to. So I appreciate y'all. Eric, you're out the next couple weeks.
I am.
We're gonna miss you.
We have our inaugural trip in the old camper this weekend, man. So it's gonna be our first. So wish me luck. Ugh. And then followed quickly by the second trip in the camper. So we're doing
making a whole family in the camper.
Yeah.
Is this by chance a 3-story home that's a camper?
It is
to make it a little better, or no? Good luck, my friend. Good luck.
What region of the country are you driving to?
So this weekend for the 4th of July weekend, we are headed up to Wyoming for a little bit. We're going to head up to a little town called Buffalo, Wyoming. So, and then next, and then the week after, I know Yellowstone's it's too
nothing related to the show. Anything filmed in that area?
Not at all.
Not even close.
Dang it!
So we're doing that, and then the following week we will be we're taking the hair tour on the road again. And we'll be in Custer, South Dakota for a big.
If you need to be reminded, Eric's last name is Hare.
Yes, in case you.
This is the Hair of the dog or anything. This is the Hare clan. They're the Hare clan.
Not an RV full of rabbits or anything.
No. Well, we will miss you, big guy. I feel like it's been forever since you and I even hung out in person. So
yeah, for sure.
That's usually
I got a pair of shoes. I got a pair of shoes in my foyer with your name. Literally your name on them because they are your shoes. So, because the last time you were here, you
was at a wedding. Yeah.
Yeah.
Keep them.
I was gonna say, how do you leave without? I did not go outside and go, oh shit, I had shoes on.
It was. I changed after. I changed into different clothes after the wedding and went over to Eric's. We went to totally 80s.
To forget if I'm wearing shoes. So
no, I wear socks constantly, and I wear shoes usually till I. Probably, 8:00 at night. So.
Nobody needs to see my nasty feet.
All right. Well, I had a great time with y'all tonight. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the new subscribers out there. Again, like, subscribe, hit the bell for notifications. And with that being said, we'll see you all next week on the Nerd Rundown.
See ya. Bye.
Meg loves it.
I just love it. Oh, The Lake House. That's the name of that movie.